Hello everybody and welcome back. So today's video is just a short one while I continue working on my sewing themed journal. This is to kind of showcase my new kit for this month, my Sew Shabby kit. I also have design team members who have been making beautiful journals with this kit. I will have them all linked down below. Please go and check them out. Come over to the Line.Arrow Facebook group because there's lots of posts in there as well with people's creations using my Sew Shabby kit. It has just been amazing to kind of see what people have been doing with it. Now I have been doing quite a few things off of camera. I have put my pages and signatures together, but you'll notice throughout I have included each of the different challenges. So I've got one of my yo-yos, which was the week 3 challenge attached to my front cover. I've got one of the mannequin dolls, which I'll be adding to my journal shortly. And then the week 2 challenge, which was to create a bobbin dangle, that is also attached to my journal. It's been a little while since my last video, purely because it is now the summer holidays here in the UK, so my daughter is home. It's also the reason I'm doing this voiceover because, yeah, she's 4, so there's a lot of noise going on in the background while I am crafting. I did also promise her that I would decorate her bedroom as soon as the summer holidays started, so for her that meant literally the first day. So we were off to B&Q buying paints, ordering some stickers for her walls. And yeah, that's what we've been doing for the past week. So that's another reason why I haven't posted in a little while. So here I'm just adding a closure to this trifold tag. It's just a nice way to help keep them closed. So I've added a policy closure and I'm just wrapping around some red hemp thread. I quite like just having the one policy closure rather than the 2, and then obviously you can just wrap the string all the way around. It just helps keep it closed. Because this is a vintage style journal, I am doing a little bit of inking, but only lightly. I'm not going too heavy around all of the edges. So I'm going to do something similar with this one. So this one isn't from the kit. This was actually something that was gifted to me. It was a different kind of paper, but again with the bodices and the sewing theme, I just thought it went still really nicely with the kit. So I'm doing the same sort of thing. I'm doing a policy closure, but I'm only having one of those discs. I'm not having 2. But this time, instead of wrapping it from top to bottom, it's just going to go around the flap, which you'll see in just a moment. Again, just a little bit of light inking around the edge. I'm not being too heavy with the vintage photo this time. It's just to add a little bit around each of the edges, especially on this one because it is a lighter paper. So here I'm using that hemp again. This time I'm using a white, but I'm just going to wrap it around the flap at the top, so not from top to bottom like last time. But again, it just holds it closed and it saves me from punching out 2 of the discs. Okay, so I have this huge pile of different bits of ephemera that I want to include. Now, many of the items here are from the kit, but again, I have got some items that I've just had in my stash anyway, and I've just pulled out the ones that I think go well with the colours from the kit. So I'm just gluing together this envelope and rounding off that top corner. Again, just adding a little bit of ink around that top flap. All these other items I'm now just going to kind of sort through and see what I can work on. A few bits are handmade, some bits, as I say, they're just things that I've had in my stash, like this card here that I'm rounding the corners on now. It's just a piece of sewing themed card that I had. I've got tissue paper. I've been really lucky lately. In a couple of groups I've done either swaps or some of the groups do a Wednesday wishes, and because I knew I was working on a sewing themed journal, I'd put that I was after any sort of sewing items. So I've had some very kind people send me different bits that are sewing themed. So some of the things that you'll see in here throughout these journals are things that have been gifted to me. So that sewing pattern paper that's currently underneath my box of eyelets has all of this beautiful stamping on of different sort of sewing themed things, and that was gifted to me as well. So thank you, Sandra, if you're watching. So I'm just adding my ribbon to these tags. I've got this lovely sewing themed ribbon that I've had for ages. As I said, I've been collecting sewing things for a sewing themed journal for a long time. So I've had this in my stash for a good couple of years probably, but yeah, I'm happy to finally be using some of the things, and considering I'm making 2 journals, I still have so much left over. So definitely in the future at some point I'll be revisiting the sewing theme, and coming back and using more elements from my stash, because as you can see I've got tons here, and all of this is just going into one of the journals. I have another pile set to the side for the second journal that I'm doing, so all of this stuff is just for this one journal. So here I'm just playing about with some lace and some ribbon on another tag that I have, and I don't always use eyelets. Quite often like to staple like I'm using here. The tiny attacher from Tim Holtz is brilliant for that. Some of these smaller items and tickets and things that I've got, I received in the Your Creative Studio box, so I've got a few items from here as well. All of it's going in. It's all goes very nicely with the theme, I think. So now it's just a case of sorting through it and trying to get it all into this signature. So this particular piece I have done some sewing on, but I really wanted to use it as a belly band. So I'm just attaching glue to the top and the bottom so that the middle part is a belly band. I'm obviously not going to slide anything in just yet because I want to wait until the glue is nice and dry. I've got a few of these kind of vintage button cards, so I thought I'd use some of those in the journals as well. Now I'm just sorting out one of my pockets, folding down the edges. Now when you are sticking in pockets, you always need to make sure that your bottom flap overlaps the ones on the side, so things that don't get caught when you're actually sliding them into the pocket. And I actually almost forgot to ink the top there, so I just had to quickly do that before I stuck it down. So here I'm just playing around with some of the fussy cuts, just trying to add a little bit more extra decoration up the sides. I have sewn a piece of lace there, but because it's a peachy colour, well, sort of pinky peachy colour, it blends in with the background page. So I just wanted something else on there just to kind of stand out on the page. I have used a variety of different papers. So again, this is kind of a lace piece of card. Again, I think that was gifted to me from somebody, and I'm using one of the dresses that I created in the week 1 challenge when you had to decorate the dresses for the mannequins. This was one that I did with washi tape, so this is from my week 1 challenge. So I'm just trying to figure out different things that I can kind of pair with it, and I'm going to use this as a tuck spot on this piece of cardstock. So here again, I'm just kind of looking at the edge of the page. Again, while I've got lace up the side, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else to just add a bit more pop of colour to that corner. So again, I've got a printed sewing pattern, which I'm going to slide behind this vintage lady. The vintage lady is from the kit, and again, using one of the words from the kits there as well. You can see here another stamped page. This was another item that was gifted to me, I think, from Sandra. So thank you, Sandra. She's obviously got some really cool sewing stamps So on the opposite page, I'm just creating a tuck. So again, just having a look through some of these elements I did print on a kind of heavier cardstock just so they're a little bit stiffer. So I'm just putting a bit of a tape measure down at the bottom, and then I'm going to glue all of the bottom so that it's now a top loading tuck spot. So here you can see properly that stamped tissue paper that was sent to me. This is absolutely gorgeous, and I just love how this looks once it is glued down onto the page. I am using a wet glue rather than a glue stick, only because I can't find my glue stick at the time that I'm putting this together, so I just use some wet glue, but it applied really, really well. And again, I'm just using a tape measure just along the top just to kind of finish it off on that page. So on the opposite side of that pocket, I decided to do the same thing. So again, I'm going to apply some of that stamped tissue paper, and again, just decorate this pocket. Behind that pocket, I do have a piece of lace that I have sewn to the top of the page. I will be adding some buttons to that, but I'll be doing that off camera after this video, but you'll see that when I do the full flip through. So again, I'm just cutting out one of my pockets so I can apply it to that back page, this time remembering to ink it before I start applying all of my glue. I really love this cotton reel, and I did design it as being a tuck spot in mind. That's what I was thinking of when I kind of put this one together. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to use it as a tuck spot. I do add a couple of other elements to it just to kind of finish it off a bit. But this turns out to be a really lovely little tuck spot. So I'm just deciding between these two which looks better on the page. I think the frame does, although it does blend a little bit into the background, which is why I'm adding some ink just to make it pop a little bit. And obviously we have that white square in the middle, so I decided to use one of my button card stamps and using some red ink to stamp that in the centre, and it actually fits absolutely perfectly. So I was really happy with how well this stamped and how well this came out. You can see now how well that button card stamp does fit into that window. So I was really pleased, and I do love that red from that Distress Oxide. So this one I decided to use as a side loading tuck spot. So I've only glued on 3 sides and then kept that right side open. So I'll add some bits to that a bit later. So once again, I'm just gathering some different items to stick down. Again, using some of the measuring tapes and just trying to decorate some of the edges. So I really love this faux cross stitch image. So I'm just trying to find a suitable place for it in the journal, and again just pulling out some more items that I want to add to the background. So I've got some lace here that I'm just going to snip up and just try and work out exactly what it is that I need to make a little cluster down the side of the page. Okay, now that's stuck down, I just try and find a word, and I choose the word flowers because I think it goes really nicely with the bird and the flowers that you can see in the cross stitch frame. So the camera is going to phase out in a moment because this is the last page that you'll see me decorate. I had to then disappear to sort out dinner. But off camera I did sew in the signature, and this is how it's all looking together. I decided to have the strings coming on the outside, so rather than tying it on the inside of the signature I tried to do it on the outside, and then I added some different elements just to dangle off. Because this is a fabric spine, I didn't want anything too heavy dangling, so this I think looks absolutely perfect. Now I will be of course doing a full flip through so you can see everything with the ephemera inside, but I will be doing that when I do the winner's drawing. To be in for a chance of winning, all you need to do is post in the Line.Arrow Facebook group something you have made using either the full kit or the freebies, I don't mind which. But you must also use the hashtag Sew Shabby. I will post the winner's drawing on Monday the 31st of July. Right, that's all from me. Thank you very much everyone, and I'll see you all in the next crafty video. Bye for now.